Abusua yi mu bibi akwaba na yamfa bra mega TV and platform we eso. Solomon Owusu, a senior member in the movement for change. Na oni political analyst bako aklashi on Abronye DC ni suban ehun. Ura ye freno Dr. Zaato. Na wohwe Dr. Zaato media nimnim ni se media general MPP for so munko enti wonsoma Dr. Zaato so nkusi omanan ewo honom. Na busia utie nsem a yewura eye Solomon Owusu editu dwa edifa Abronye ho na ene wohwe ni suban from chese bibia di adanse say it is the high time Abronye on be suspending the free party dem ana say omobe man severe punishment and this Abronye DC will never learn sense. Yinti conversation yakoba betroso.
I'll start with
no
you.
problem at all.
Because you are familiar with the party.
Yes.
You walked away from the party. The party has asked you to come back, and you said you're not going to go back. So that basically gives us a sense of how the party looks now. I mean, what do you make of how things are playing out? The radio.
There is a singer there's a particular song they say Orekodo. The destruction continues with the party, and I think the pace that they are going, they will very soon dig or get to an oil levels. They will discover oil very soon with the rate at which they are moving. First of all, this whole petition and then utterances by Wontumi and Abronye has to be put in the right perspective. The statement made by Abronye that he has the capacity, he has the authority, he has the wherewithal to be able to put people into albums. The statement made by Wontumi that yes, those that are in the album were put purposely there to favor a particular candidate here, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, is practically the truth. If you have been involved in MPP politics and if you know whatever happens there, a regional chairman has a lot of influence. They control most of the constituency executives. And so it is very easy that instead of going to organize a polling station elections, put their cronies in the various polling stations so that when it is time for them to go and vote or elect a parliamentary candidate, these same delegates will go and vote for them. And when it's time for a presidential flag bearership elections, the same delegates will go and vote for these aspirants, and including themselves. Remember, they will also be going for or seeking re-election. So it's a factual statement, and I don't see why or how anybody, including Kodia himself, could challenge this very position. So they spoke the truth, except that the truth rather puts the party in a very bad shape, and that is why there seems to be back and forth with it. Again, remember when Wontumi and Abronye made these statements, the Canada-Japan side of the divide called for the two of them to be hauled before the disciplinary committee. Is that the case?
Yes.
This petition that Kodia has sent is Wontumi included in it?
No.
It's only Abronye. And Abronye has been hauled to the disciplinary committee only because in subsequent videos he made mention of Justin Kodia, that he was sitting on a certain report that should be used to expel Canada-Japan from the party. And in fact, that is the strategy of the party moving forward. Remember what Adenimo had said before withdrawing from the race, that this whole process was skewed and schemed in favor of a particular candidate. And that he, Adenimo, having known where he started his school from Navasco in the northern region, and how he struggled to do engineering and made money, would never go and invest 4.6 million Chopapo Ghana cedis into this whole enterprise. Because he can't pay it. Are you with me? Then he left out. What is playing out? Is it not the same thing that Adenimo, the reason Adenimo left, that is being echoed by Abronye and Wontumi? That in fact they have schemed and skewed everything in favor of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. So when Abronye made mention of Justin Kodia, remember Justin Kodia will be seeking a re-election as a general secretary. and knows that if this matter is not handled very well, it will be used against him when he decides to contest. So let me quickly go to the National Council or refer the matter to the National Council or the disciplinary committee for an action to be taken. Nothing is going to come out. That's life, so that he can expose the Antichrist. Remember, we have been treated to sinners, 10 sins, 5 sins, 13 sins here and there. Now they have moved and not further. Abronye has moved the thing and not further to bring in Antichrist. How can you refer or describe a party member, a fellow party member, who has the potential of leading your party, and you are Abronye, you are a member of the National Executive Committee as well as a member of the National Council as an Antichrist? So in the event, in an unlikely event that Kennedy wins, how then you come back and convince the entire Ghanaian, talk by heart, and then give advantage to our party? By the way, our party very soon will be at play. So it is nothing to write home about. The truth of the matter is that the current situation of the NPP is that it's a party that has only 87 members of parliament. It's a party that won elections in only 3 regions of this country. It's a party that lost heavily in Greater Accra, lost heavily in the Volta region, lost heavily in Western North, and most parts of this country. So if you're a party with this record, what the least you could do is to start the rebuilding from the scratch. That seems not to be the case. It is now all about me. And yesterday I was listening to the General Secretary. He said something that individual interest has taken over the collective interest, that nobody now is thinking about their party called the New Patriotic Party. And that is what is worrying the party. So clearly, Abronye is able to do this because he knows that the establishment favors him, that he knows that nobody can say anything. But this petition is also a trap to Kennedy Japan. If he does not take care, they will use it to expel him, because Abronye will then deviate from the very petition that concerns him and move into an arena that will just to bastardize Kennedy Japan. And after that, the party will stand on it, and then as it were, expel him from the party. You should take it lightly. That is what can happen. And in all these, Abronye claims to be speaking for Mahmoud Bawumia. Abronye claims he is a vital or a pivotal member of the Bawumia campaign. Have you heard the former vice president make any statement to that effect? When Abronye took Duncan Williams, the Archbishop, the Papa, to the cleanest, did you hear the former flag bearer or the former vice president make a single statement? I mean, beyond this internal rhetoric, internal bickering, one of the challenges that will face Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's campaign, I know everything has been schemed for him to win, is how he would deal with the issue of the Papa, Duncan Williams. How he sat down, how he could not utter a single word in the open, how he could not even come to the aid or the defense of Archbishop Duncan Williams when one of his own took him to the cleanest. Okay. So that is what is at play now. Now, this thing, they tried it somewhere in 2007. They wanted to expel Alan using the same procedure. Can you imagine when Alan Chamante went to a vetting committee in 2007? First time I'm telling the world that Mr. Peter Alajete looked straight into Alan's face and asked him, Mr. Alan Chamante, are you a member of the NPP? At the vetting committee, can you imagine, Kable? Because the system has been set up in such a way that they were going to expel him. When they see that the competition is becoming tough, they have to find other ways and means to get you out. So for me, this is a party that is struggling. They need something extraordinary to turn around things. But from where I sit, there seem to be no leaders or elders who are ready to put their foot down and say, enough is enough. Let's stop what we are doing. We are destroying the political party to beyond repairs. It will collapse eventually, but the way and manner they are moving fast, that is what some of us are concerned. That don't move faster than the anticipated timelines. We know you will collapse, but we have a timeline that you will do so. But do not bring it forward. Because when you collapse before our party's establishment, it becomes a problem.
Okay.
There has to be a party that will fill in that gap. Remember that when the CPP went down, there was a party that filled in their stead. So before you collapse, there has to be a party, a vibrant party that will take Hamza's party on. which is our party, because we are going to give constructive, we are going to take them on in all aspects of their governance.
Okay.
What they promise the people of this country.
Okay. Let me come to Doc now. And Doc, I mean, there are those who are looking at what is playing out, and they will say that is the more reason why potentially it would have been better if the party had organized from the ground, the very low level, because now we are being told that we've heard from two officers saying that, well, the register, we can manipulate it a certain way. If we start at that level, it will mean that they are going to have new executives at all levels, all the way to the top. Then they have the main elections. But now, the manner they are going about it, some are saying that that is what is causing what is playing out currently. Did you share that point of view?
Once again, good morning to you. I think that today I want to do a little bit more of an intellectual analysis. And I want to do a little bit more of a historical analysis. I want us to go all the way back to 1998. It's important that when some of these issues come up, that we contextualize them and begin to understand that there are certain issues that are just natural with political parties. There are certain issues that just happen so long as you're a political party. And that we've seen that political parties in Ghana, especially the two dominant ones, have gone through this and they've made them stronger and better. That if there are people who don't understand this, unless we do this education, they will not comprehend this. I start with the NDC in 1998. J. John Rawlings was leaving the scene. The biggest problem was who to succeed J. John Rawlings. There were people in the NDC. The front runner, the person they were projecting was a gentleman called Augustus Guzitano to replace J. John Rawlings. Do you know what happened? J. John Rawlings did him
the Swedru declaration.
At Swedru, J. John Rawlings held the hand of Arthur Mills to say that this is my son in whom I'm more favored. This guy should lead the NDC. It won't happen. Do you know what happened to the NDC? It split. Guzitano left and went and formed his own reform party. Took the people with him. Later on, the NDC went through the same thing again. What's the name? Obeda Samoa, Faustina Nelson, and others also left. Went and formed their own political party. Nana Konodo Ajima Rawlings, whose husband formed the NDC, left and formed the party. The NDC endured. This is the only political party so far in the Fourth Republic that's integrated and formed its own party. The NDC did that. But no, the NDC stood steadfast, stood to their core. They withered all the storm. And by 2008, they rode back to power. By 2008, that same Professor Mills. Adversity comes to all political parties. Political parties, I said, are very vulnerable when they are going through transitions. That is the history of the NDC. That's what happens. And today, that Guzitano is one of the biggest, most senior advisors to the sitting president of the Ghana. Today, some of the people in those political parties are occupying very powerful positions in the NDC. That's what history has told us. Political parties go through a lot. And nobody rise up a political party just because they are going through turmoil. Do you understand that? Two, then we come to the NPP. A similar thing happened. But what became known as the Sunyani earthquake. That was where JF4 and Akufo-Addo met to select who leads the party. That was where Akufo-Addo gave one of the best speeches of political life. It was this woman from Cape Coast, I always forget her name, who introduced Akufo-Addo. That was the best speech she also gave. Akufo-Addo lost that election. But Akufo did something. He stood party and he campaigned with JF4 and MPP won the elections. He remained with the party and he remained as the heir apparent all the way until 2007. Something happened. The MPP went for a congress at the University of Ghana, Legon. Akufo-Addo and Alan Chamanten were the two leading candidates. Alan lost that election. You know what he did? He resigned. For the first time in the history of the MPP, a leading member of the party who lost a primary, delegates humbled you, he resigned. I want you to understand the chronology. He resigned. The APP went ahead to lose that election and stayed in opposition and lost back-to-back elections for almost 8 years. I want you to understand. Then something happened. In that period, the NPP went ahead to suspend their national chairman, went ahead to suspend their general secretary, went ahead to suspend another leading member of the party while they were in opposition. They went through all this turmoil. But again, the party came back roaring. In 2016, they won. In 2020, they won back-to-back elections. Then something happened again after that. The same Alan Chamanten came back to the party. And then something else happened. He went again to contest for presidency. Once again, delegates humbled him. Once again, delegates rejected him. And you know what he did again? For the second time, he quit the party. Honorable Alan Chomintan is the biggest disruptor, he's the biggest quitter, and he's the most indisciplined person in the history of the NPP. He's the one who has resigned twice and come back. And now he's resigned. So if you want to see the most indisciplined person in the NPP, in the history of the NPP, starting from history, he is the man who has shown that whenever delegates reject him, he will resign. He goes to delegates and says, if you don't vote for me, I'll resign, and he has done that. That's the history that has come. And now the NPP has lost elections. So if you look at our history, if you just do the analysis, political parties have gone through a lot in their formation, in their restructuring, but they always find a way to stay true to their core. It happened to the NDC, to their in power. It happened to the NPP, today they are in opposition. We've seen this. So there's nothing new, there's nothing strange about this. Today, again, we are seeing the moment the succession plans in the NDC is about to start, we've seen what is happening in the NDC. It's too early. A member of parliament of the NDC had cause to complain. What are you coming to thank us for? The China Pakakunz, what are you coming to tell us for? We have no appointments. We have no development. What are you coming to? What happened? He was summoned to the National Inquiry into the When Honorable, when Asiedu Nketia said he was going to take it, we saw Rasmo Barak issued a statement condemning that. My point is that you will see more of this, not less. You will see more of this. They are natural with the terrain. They happen whenever there is a succession. They happen whenever you are living. Because see, is the price, what drives them is the price at stake. You know that today, if you are the NDC flag bearer, you've got 50% of the votes, you leave only one to be president. You know that today, if you are the NPP flag bearer, you've got 50% of votes, you need one. The price makes that. And it's about power. People, alliances change. People feel, okay, you know what? If I'm with this person and the person win, I'll get this. If I'm with this person. So, it's not the best to sit down and when you see a political party going through turmoil, that this one, to write them off. Because history has told us that. That in and of itself is not sufficient to ridiculous the party.
Yeah, but should the history not be the more reason why the party is careful about how it goes about the rebuilding process?
Exactly. And you've seen that there are changes. For instance, the NPP has realized that because of that history, let's have our primaries to elect our flag bearer early and do this. That was informed by the history. Again, the same history has told the NDC. That's what the NDC has officially written. Members Union has officially written or commented or complained. And they've told, and some have even warned Musa Dankwa to stop polling the early primaries. I've also said that nobody has declared to run. Why are you polling us? Both parties are learning from history. They are saying that, look, if you continue with this polling you are doing, Musa Dankwa, it's going to create a disruption from us. We are just 10 months into government. We have a lot to do. If you start this polling right now, it will disrupt our front. So that is a party being proactive and saying that Musa Dankwa, stop polling us. Don't poll us at all. He fired back today by saying, hey, I've been polling the NPP for so long. They've never told us directly to stop. We do that. It's the same thing that
That's a comment by a former government.
Agreed, I understand.
I mean, I don't think it's
I'm saying
fair
that
to necessarily
it is the same. It is the same thing that has allowed the NDC to summon a member of parliament saying, Master, stop, don't criticize the party, don't criticize us because we are yet to go there. My point is that, and you've seen, again, the General Secretary of the MPP has come out to give a very honest assessment. For me personally, I think he was being honest. To say that, look, because anything other than that, he would have been dishonest. Anything other than that would have been deceitful. Anything other than that would have been a lie. To come out and say that the party is going through difficult situation, because sometimes when you have a problem, acknowledging that you have a problem, understanding you have a problem, and working towards it is the best way to solve it. So he coming out to say that, yes, we are in the difficult times. Yes, we are challenges. But also, those challenges are surmountable. I think that's the best way. So, for people worrying, it tells you then that the head of the NPP, or the heads of the NPP, are not just being merely farcical. No, they understand they have a problem. They understand that the party is going through a difficult time. And they understand that the only way to do it is to keep going and keep working hard.
I mean, the rebuilding process, the national chairman for Ashanti region will be important to it. The Buno chairman will be important to it. The general secretary will also be important. Does that not lend credence to the fact that the best way to determine the wind of change would have been start from the lower level, let everyone see how the wind is blowing?
I don't understand when you are start from which level. What is the lower level?
So polling station elections, executives.
Look, you made something. There's something in the literature we call resilience. Resilient organizations are organizations that are able to adapt. Not just adopt, but adapt to change. Adopt to change. And resilient organizations are organizations that are able to come up with creative solutions to what they have. The NPPs have seen the field. And I'm telling you, they've learned from history, they've learned from the NDC, and they've learned from their own history. And the National Executive Organ has said that in their wisdom and backed by history, this is the best way to go.
Okay.
That is what I'm saying is resilience. To be resilient means you must be able to adapt and change. To be resilient means that you must find a way to make sure that you correct the problems you're doing. So maybe the old way, and so I've heard people say top down and bottom down. Or the best is say the old way and the new way. The old way may be in the wisdom of the NPP will not serve them any good. And if it will not serve you good, why continue it?
Okay. All right. Let me come to Hamza now. And Hamza, you agree with his point that parties go through that cycle? I mean, at least, I mean, you may disagree with the interpretation he places on it, but the fact remains that the NDC, you've had similar challenges, and like he argues, the impact was even worse than what the NPP is going through now.
Akable, you see, permit me to say good morning to the leadership of the National Democratic Congress, and of course His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, and the entirety of the NDC government, and to thank them for the many blessings we continue to work on a daily basis to bring the way of the good people of this country, still knowing that so much is still expected of the government, and knowing His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama and the team that he has assembled, I'm quite positive that indeed we would continue to meet the desired objectives of the Ghanaian people. Today we are here. Thankfully, the doomsday that was predicted is nowhere to be found. Even after being handed over a challenged energy sector, we have managed, through the hard work of the Honorable John Jinapo and His Excellency President Mahama, and of course the Minister responsible for finance, we have managed to keep the lights on. These are successes one can take for granted. Again, just this morning, I heard you discussing about the increment to feeding allowances for our prisoners. Whichever way you see them, they are citizens of the Republic of Ghana, and it is our hope that we more or less take very good care of them in terms of their health provision. Is one important aspect of doing that, especially when it comes to our prisons. And I hope that the government would also consider the possibility of trying to renovate many of these prison facilities to make it habitable for humans. LEAP has been increased, you know that already. Livelihood empowerment against poverty in excess of about 33% or so. School feeding program has also been improved or increased under this government, even in the midst of the difficult economic situations that we have inherited, and a host of others. And so it is important for that information to be out there and to assure the good people of this country that in the midst of our difficulties, we'll try as much as possible as a government that is committed to a social contract with the people to see how we can meet many of their objectives. For me, it is painful that in the midst of all these successes, the NPP has decided to be destructive, largely because of their own internal political happenings. Instead of them to be concerned or concentrate on the bigger picture of national development, holding this government accountable. Interestingly, they have decided, as usual of them, to be very sectional in terms of their desires. But that does not prevent us also from running commentary on same. Because what affects the NPP in the long run affects the Republic of Ghana. And so we must be interested in the activities of the New Patriotic Party. Council, you see, what is the center of the concern of the letter being written by the General Secretary? It borders on reckless political commentary and indiscipline, unsubstantiated allegations against political operatives. That is the crux of the petition. And we have had cause to discuss the likes of Abronye DC and Chairman Wontumi around this table. We have had cause to complain about their reckless political commentary. Indeed, even when this government was in opposition, the same Abronye DC held all kinds of unsubstantiated allegations born out of falsehood and wicked propaganda against His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama and his family. The same Abronye DC, not long ago, even upon assumption of office, unsubstantiated allegation was thrown again against His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama of having embezzled in excess of 550 million Ghana cedis, if you remember. That more or less excited the National Investigations Bureau to invite him, and the MPP raised concerns about his invitation. As if that was not enough. Not long ago with his court battles, another reckless commentary against a reputable state institution, the Ghana Police Service, and the Inspector General of Police. And is it just so? The question we should be asking ourselves is that this is Abronye DC. Is this a way of politicking within the NPP, or it is peculiar to that of Abronye DC? And I don't think that it is peculiar to the gentleman. The NPP can be hypocritical in all what it wants to say. Indeed, even Kennedy Agyapong is known in this country for his reckless and unsubstantiated allegations against political actors. I remember vividly, somewhere in 2011 or so, when His Excellency President Mills of blessed memory was president, his reckless commentary laced with tribal ethnic tensions that led to his invitation. NPP foot soldiers were massed up at that facility. Reckless political commentary. Again, Chairman Wontumi is known for going very personal against His Excellency President Mahama and Her Excellency Lordina Mahama in this country. So that has been the politics of the New Patriotic Party for some time now. And you ask yourself, where from that kind of politicking, that lawlessness, that reckless politicking, that indiscipline, it became this apparent when His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo became flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party with Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia as running mate. Remember, it was that indiscipline that characterized the sacking of their national chairman and general secretary. They were physically assaulted, not even a fly was disciplined by the New Patriotic Party for that action. So that was when they started setting that stage of indiscipline and recklessness. It is a culture they nurtured for years. It is that same culture that is beginning to eat the MPP up today. What were they expecting? They thought they were doing the NDC or the Republic of Ghana. They were doing themselves, and we made that point from day one. Today, Abronye DC and the likes have turned the guns on you people, and you are complaining. Where were you in the last 16 years when you were feeding that destructive way of politicking and that reckless form of politics? And so, Akable, that is the crux of the matter.
But you agree that various parties go through...
I will get there. Phases, I will get there. You know, I won't leave that place uncovered.
Okay.
I'll listen to him. And again, my brother was clearly disingenuous to proper intellectual analysis of the issue, because he started his presentation by saying that he's going to do intellectual and historical analysis. Yes. So I was hoping to learn from him on that tangent. But clearly, because of our political interests, he decided to do the expected, do spin around what actually should constitute intellectual and historical context. Nobody disagrees with him that the NDC went through the phases that he recounted historically. But what I consider unfair to intellectual discourse is his failure to point out why the NDC survived those phases. Because the NDC, in the midst of these mounting challenges and threats to instability, held on to one important principle: discipline, no matter who was at the center. Do you think that it was easy for the National Democratic Congress to expel the likes of Petition? Do you think that it was easy for the National Democratic Congress to expel the likes of Dr. Obed Asamoah and Francis Essien, committed members of the National Democratic Congress who served the party for years? We did not privilege personalities over and beyond that of our principles, especially when it comes to indiscipline. That is an NDC.
Okay.
But you of all them, you cannot say same of the NPP. All the reckless commentary that Kennedy Agyapong made, when was he ever made to face a disciplinary committee with sanctions meted out to him? Abronye DC himself, when was he made to face disciplinary committee with sanctions meted out to him?
Okay.
Akable. So these are the facts, and that is why I expected him to be fair to that intellectual analysis. And again, you see, sometimes he made references to the China MP. Look, the NDC is a beautiful democratic tradition, and I love that party. It did not start today. Even my own big brother, the Honorable Alasan Stûbb0rn, Deputy Minister for Roads and Highways, at a point in time in opposition, the NDC National Executive Committee had cause to invite him and some of his colleagues on their stance. And I think that had to do with the removal of the then minority leader and now minister responsible for education. They were invited to face FEC, just like the China Para MP.
Okay.
So this trend of invitation tells you that we hold disciplines we do not joke with discipline as a political party, and that makes us different from the MPP.
Okay.
So what the China Power MP has done, we have laid down processes. For all you know, there are many who would agree with the concerns that he raised. But as a party leader, there are laid down procedures that we expected him. So we are not discounting his concerns, especially when it comes to the people within his catchment area, his constituency. We are not. But sometimes there's a need for people to know that there's a channel of communication that people must take advantage of. And so when we do so, it is not meant to stifle his right to freedom of expression. It is to remind him that he's a member of the body corporate called the National Democratic Congress. And so finally, Akable, if there is any body or group of persons who ought to be made to face any disciplinary committee, it is not just Abronye, it is the New Patriotic Party in its entirety.
Okay.
That needs actually to face a disciplinary committee.
Okay.
Because the party has become a den of indiscipline and reckless political commentary.
Okay.
And so it will not be fair to the likes of Abronye DC if you subject them to a so-called disciplinary committee without subjecting the entirety of that institution to disciplinary processes.
Okay. Let me come to Solo. And I realized when he was speaking, you made a lot of notes.
One thing that I realized with Zaato is that he barely knows the MPP's history. And I think he will take his time and be properly educated on it. It's very important. I see him as a brother. But he should not be taking history lessons from the lives of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, he himself doesn't know the history of the MPP. I
mean, is there anything he recounted specifically that...
I'm coming there. First of all, he claims that Alan resigned in the year 2000. He lost and resigned. Akable, do you believe in that statement? But you should have corrected it right there. If for nothing at all, YouTube is there. He should have refreshed his memory before coming to the studios. That in 2007, there was no clear winner in Legon. Get it straight. The election was supposed to go for a second round. And in the second round, it is anybody's game. In fact, election 2008 vindicates the position that if Alan had contested in the second round, he would have beaten Akufo-Addo because Akufo-Addo doesn't have stamina. Remember, in 2008, Akufo-Addo was leading Professor Mills by 100,000 votes in the first round. And by 100,000 votes, you are talking about Accra Sports Stadium filled to capacity, Kumasi Sports Stadium filled to capacity, plus the Aliu Mahama Sports Stadium filled to capacity. That was the extent of the margin between Akufo-Addo and Professor Mills. Yet, Professor Mills turned it around, and then so Alan could have beaten Akufo-Addo in the second round. But what did Alan do? He processed it. He looked at what was happening to the party. Alan, that Zaato is comfortably sitting here, saying that he's the most indisciplined person. He realized that the party could collapse if they went for a runoff. So he said, look, in order to save the unity of this party, in order not to push this party to expend these scarce resources, I, Alan Chemante, am allowing my elder brother Nana Akufo-Addo to go so that all of us will support him. This was the words of Mr. Alan Chimanti. And if you consider such a personality who could sacrifice his political life for a personality like Akufo-Addo and call him an indiscipline this morning, then I can assure you that this MPP will collapse before the end of November.
I'll let you continue.
Then again, we need to clear. We need to clear. He has brought a lot of inaccuracies.
Yes, on the point of the resignation.
Yes, Alan never resigned.
I'm coming. Your disagreement stems from the fact that. Do you agree with the fact that there was an attempt to resign? You agree with that?
No, but there's an attempt to resign.
No, I just want us to put it in that context.
Did Alan resign? Do you believe in that Alan resigned?
We've heard from party officials.
No, which official did you hear from?
I'm coming.
Yes.
There are party officials who have spoken around the commission.
Who are those? Who are those? I want to mention that and tell you their background. Remember, whoever is speaking, check his background, whether or not he's an antagonist towards Alan.
Okay.
There are a lot of people skewing and then fabricating all sorts of stories. Alan had given in, had conceded to Nana Akufo-Addo. He had allowed him to go. After that, his men were being humiliated, were being chased out of the party. That Alan writes an official letter to the party that, look, if it is because of me that my men will be disciplined like this, then I'm prepared to sacrifice myself so that they have their peace. Conditional statement. Then Nana Akufo-Addo and Skaba quickly went to the Daily Graphic and got them to publish. Daily Graphic published that Alan quits MPP. Now, if he was mindful and he was abreast with the MPP's constitution, in MPP's constitution, before you can contest the presidential elections, you have to be 5 years and above. Is that not the case? Now, let's do this mathematics. If indeed his argument is anything to write home about, if Alan resigned in 2007, which is not true anyway, and you rejoin the party again, it means you are starting afresh. It means Alan couldn't have contested the presidential primaries in 2010. Did Alan contest or not? So what basis is he making this argument? Okay. It's a flawed argument. Okay. It's one of the propaganda.
You have some other points you wanted to get.
Now, he comes back. So we have cleared that Alan didn't resign. It is a fabrication that you continue to. Now he comes back to say that in 2023, when Alan was 2023, once again, that is why he needs education on the MPP matters. In MPP, the constitution says that when the aspirants are more than 5, we go into what we call a superdelegates election. Is that not the case? In superdelegates election, for your information, you are not looking at who plays first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. We are looking at the first 5. So whoever comes in the first 5 is a winner. The question is, was Alan amongst the first 5? Akable, help me. He was. Is that not the case? So where from this he was beaten?
I mean, again.
Correct him.
Sometimes.
It's not sometimes. We are doing. He told us that we were doing an intellectual discourse this morning, and we are going to tell it.
I'm saying that sometimes the facts don't necessarily differ. It's the interpretation we place on them, and I'm saying that
which one is the fact?
I'm saying that because he would argue that what he meant by beating.
But you cannot put words in his mouth. Why is the person sitting here? You want to explain?
That's fine. No, he will do that. No, he will do that.
Hey, you've been able to go into his memory to determine what he meant. I cannot sit here for this thing to happen. First of all,
I want to ask you a question.
Ask me.
Yes, I want to ask you a question.
Yes.
The point he makes about the fact that his conduct, and he compares it to other individuals within the party, in which no matter what is playing out, they stay within the fold of the party. Let me ask you a direct question. Do you generally believe that when individuals are within parties and there are challenges, walking away is the best option?
But first of all,
generally,
Alan, Alan, you are dealing with Alan. Don't let us go any semantics. He went after Alan. Let's deal with Alan.
We've cleared that up.
First of all, the MPP was formed on the 28th of July, 1992. Alan had been with this party from 1992 to 2023. You understand? Would you call such a person not a loyal person? Someone who was the chairman of the Young Executive Forum, a group that bankrolled this party, would you call him someone who was not loyal to the party? If someone is in the party, look, even in the 2007 that he's talking about, do you know that Alan was the lead campaigner in the runoff in Ashanti region, including Central region? So how would you then describe such a person? In 2014, when Akufo-Addo had no people surrounding him and working for him, Akufo-Addo himself went to Kosimintim and told the entire world that my campaign, and the videos are available. My entire campaign, the only single person that had campaigned more than anybody was Alan Chamate. Then you got a nerve to come and sit here and tell me that, look, Alan is indisciplined. That is not going to be tolerated.
Okay.
Alan is more disciplined than your candidate, Baumia. In any case, if residency was anything to go by, you Zaato yourself, when you were beaten in Sisala East, you told them that you had resigned from the party. Didn't you tell them that? Verbally. He's sitting here. He should tell me that I'm wrong.
Okay.
To the extent that saying that you stop voting there and voting in Nantom. Are you not voting in Nantom?
Okay.
What made you to move from Sisala East to be voting in Nantom?
Okay.
So you see, when you are discussing, no wonder they miss Alan in their camp. But I told now they are not going to get him. There is no way Alan Chamate returned back to the force. We are going to build a vibrant the rest of our lives on earth. If we could use our dedicated lives, our youthful lives, our resources to build the MPP to become attractive for these people to come and destroy it, I can tell you, the best thing I can leave, the legacy I can leave for my children, is to help build a brand new party that is truthful, that is disciplined, that believes in the ideals and principles of our founding fathers of this country, and not to be asked to do anything. By the way, you want to cut me?
No, I'm not cutting you.
You made them to speak for 35 minutes. 40 minutes. I was sitting here.
No, do that.
I didn't come here to be a spectator.
No.
So go on.
Everyone is being timed. You have to calm down. You can look at the timestamps here. So calm down. You don't have to worry at all.
So you have submitted that.
Yes.
Alan is a no-go.
I know very well.
Alan is like a
So you also Doc, sorry, you took some notes on some matters you also wanted to respond to. You can do that now.
The first point I want to make is that Honorable Alan Chamate is the most disloyal person in the history of the NPP, and he has demonstrated that by his continuous resignation and destruction of the party.
I correct him.
I put that on record, and I'm going to state that every time. You mentioned a place called Nantom. I don't know Nantom. I don't know where it's called Nantom. I've never seen Nantom. Anyway, but that's irrelevant. Let's go back to the issues here. It's history. And I just want to quickly say something. So my brother that has said, my intellectual analysis, first, I guess the timelines are correct. So in intellectual, the timelines are correct. What he says I didn't do is say the why. But I explained that. I said the NDC stood true to their principles. They never wavered. And even when all these people were leaving, they stayed close. That is why they came back to win back-to-back victories. I said that. So I made both points. So if you were listening, you realize I did. I said, despite the fact that all these people were leaving, they stayed true to their principles, and that's why they were able to come back and win back-to-back. Even when Professor Mills died, may he so rest in peace, his sister John Dramani came back and won. So I did factor that in. So probably you would have seen that I did say that. The Alan Chamate's record is the Daily Graphic, and my historical record is what happened in 2023. The Daily Graphic.
No, but I can say you must be asking the questions.
The Daily Graphic. The Daily Graphic is a record of history.
Yes.
It's one of the biggest and best historical records of this country.
Yes.
So if you quote and cite from such a source, you are not being mischievous, you are being factual, you are being truthful. And I'm quoting from there. I want us to understand.
But Doc, you agree that there are times that publications are not accurate.
So far,
especially because and earlier on I was drawing his attention that we've heard from executives, former executives of the party, who have explained that a letter was written complaining about violent activities and the possibility that if they do not address that against his supporters, he could leave the party.
Has the Daily Graphic withdrawn that story?
No, I mean to the extent that
has
that's what I'm saying that.
Okay,
there's the possibility that there are inaccuracies in historical narratives that are published and they are never retracted and they remain there.
Solomon, this morning you go explain tire. And I'm seeing, you see, you are disrupting me. You saw how I kept quiet and I left you. I won't. The last time we went away, don't want to
agree with that, yes.
So again, I want to go back to the thesis of my presentation. Political parties go through these difficulties in their history. They do that often and always. And sometimes it happens when there's a change of leadership. Political parties are most vulnerable when they change leadership. And my argument is that it has happened to the two dominant parties in this country over and over. And so when it is happening to one, the other party, if I were them, will also we could start saying that, let's, as the saying goes, when your neighbor's beard is on fire, to put fire by your beard. We've seen that. We've seen that happening right now with a member of parliament, someone to punish. Look, my brother said something like, yes, the NDC expelled Stûbb0rn, yes, they did. But again, I did address that. The NPP expelled their national chairman. Stûbb0rn was not the national chairman of the NPP. Obedasama was not the national chairman of the NPP. The NPP has also used the power of expulsion as a disciplinary tool before. So I'm talking about Apple and Apple here. They've expelled the national chairman, expelled their general secretary, expelled the first national vice chairman. So both parties, therefore, have used that power of expulsion as a disciplinary tool. It has happened. And again, as you've seen, after that, they are all come back. So for me, whenever you are dealing with an organization, an institution that has millions of people, and especially in politics, remember, politics thrives on conflict. Conflict of ideas, conflict of ideologies, conflict of positions. And precisely because politics thrives on conflicts, you are going to find that politics also thrives on interest, rational self-interest, personal interest, selfish interest. If you put all this together, it's combustible. So it is normal, it is fair for you to see this is flare up whenever you are doing a primary, because it is at the primaries that people get the chance to express this issue. So for me, I will say, whenever you see a political party going through this, in fact, political parties that do not go through this turmoil are those that end up dying. Look at the political parties. The PNC doesn't go through this turmoil. That's why they're useless. CPP doesn't go through that. Useless. When you see a political party that doesn't go through any internal turmoil at all, they wither away, because conflict nourishes new ideas. New ideas nourishes new possibilities. New possibilities help political parties to survive. So watch this space and you see the biggest political parties, when they go through this, they always come out at the end stronger. And I believe that it is going to happen to all the political parties. They're going to do this. Right now, the NPP is in the eye of the storm, I know. Very soon, after January 30th, this will be the eye of the storm, and we'll all be here to do the analysis.
Okay. Final word to Hamza.
I think that my problem with Dr. Zaato, Zulu, I think my problem with Dr. Zaato's submissions, he sought to give a very tangential response to the question of why Abronye DC has been invited before the disciplinary committee. Very tangential, needless detour into historical and intellectual narratives, when the crux of the matter has to do with gross indiscipline, reckless political commentary that has become a concern for many well-meaning Ghanaians. That's the basis of the invitation. And that's why I sought to give you that contextual analysis. So get that straight. Two, yes, the NDC used disciplinary measures in the past in sanctioning its general secretaries and the likes of course, one person I mostly don't feel comfortable using as an example, because the likes of Koko Anyidoho, I always try as much as possible to refrain from running commentary on him because of my personal biases. I remember under President Mills, when I was going through difficult challenges, he was one of the people who gave me a listening ear, gave me so much time. And so regardless of how painful his politics can be now, I have made it a point not to run any commentary. Yes, any commentary on that. I'm not even sure he remembers that, but as a matter of principle, I've just decided not to.
That's a good principle. Thank you for that. Thank you.
You see, Akable, I made references to our use of disciplinary measures to project party principles, not personal principles. If we were to use disciplinary measures to project party principles, the likes of His Excellency, the late President Jerry John Rawlings, wouldn't have had a problem with the functions or activities of the National Democratic Congress. So you remember that at a point we had loggerheads with him, because we would have been using our internal disciplinary measures to project his interest and standing in the party. We didn't do that. What you made references to, the sacking of your own brother, the likes of Paul Afoko, which you are surprisingly defending here, and also calling on your own brothers again to vote for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, that contradiction. You see, what they did to him had nothing to do with the ideals of the New Patriotic Party. It had more to do with the personal dislike for him of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and his clique. So it was a personal vendetta carried out to further the influence of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia within the politics of the New Patriotic Party. Indeed, that was what led to the cold murder of your Upper East Regional Chairman, for which the younger brother of Paul Afoko had to endure unjust treatments in the hands of Nana Addo, eventually as president of the Republic of Ghana. So you know these facts. The reason why Alan resigned the first time was simply because of that unhealthy commitment to use your party structures to further the objectives of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. So these are different, and we must accept it. And if you look at
Who is resigning?
No, you can correct me.
I'm saying you should correct.
No, the first resignation. I made reference. I made reference to the first resignation.
I didn't resign.
Hamza,
I will concede.
No, I
I'll concede. I'll concede. You don't need to.
no,
Let me land. You don't need
But
to.
you have to be correcting this.
No, so but you are corrected. I will go with your word.
Yes.
You see, the thing you guys do. The problem is that no one wants anyone to come in when anyone is coming.
Yeah,
So just come
exactly.
down. Yes, so go ahead. Wrap up.
So you see, these are the facts we are dealing with, and for me, my brother should not run away from the fundamental issue before us this morning. Reckless political commentary. And you see, when I say the MPP embolden it, so I'm surprised that they are now complaining. Is it not Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, after the young guys on social media and a lady who used all kinds of vile on His Excellency President Mahama? Was it not Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia who welcomed them in open arms and celebrated their triumph in quotes? What did he think that he was doing? He was blessing that form of political reckless commentary and indiscipline. And that is the reason why I made the point that, look, it is the entirety of the New Patriotic Party that must face disciplinary measures, not just Abronye DC. And so until they remain true or they go back to their foundational principles and uphold same, they should be rest assured that the movement for change would eventually become the second force within the politics of the New Patriotic of the Republic of Ghana. And for many of us, that is our desire. Because if for nothing at all, I feel strongly that the New Patriotic Party has outlived its usefulness as far as our democracy is concerned. And it is now becoming an agent of destruction, not just to the Republic of Ghana, but to even known institutions within the entity called Ghana. And we need to check them.
Okay. So and
you must not miss this word. You, as especially a political analyst, you know this better, Dr. Zaato.
Okay. So let's do some messages and we wrap up this segment. Musa Batwa and Asawas, you say that the MPP's internal fighting is escalating, fueled by a lack of leadership to crack the whip. However, I agree with Abronye calling for the live telecast of the disciplinary hearing. President Mahama needs peace of mind to continue working to better the living conditions of Ghanaians. This one from Nanaya, you say that I do not think Dr. Zaato wants to suggest that a daily graphic publication is more accurate than the report of the then General Secretary of the NPP, who per the party's constitution is the CEO and head of all administrative matters, Nana Ohininto, who has constantly and repeatedly stated that Alan never resigned. And Ebo here, you said that I have said it before and I repeat, the NPP has become a headless and lawless party. At present, no one seems to care about the welfare of the party. Tim Bawumia is following the same playbook Nana Addo used to turn the party into his personal property. Their ultimate goal is to push Kennedy Japan out as he remains the only stumbling block to their agenda. From the way things are going, I can tell you the party can't be recognized after their January 31st primary. Okay, someone is quoting Hamza here, saying that the MPP has outlived its usefulness. You've just repeated the same comment. You should, if you are quoting him, you have to add the name there. And so those are some of the comments that have come by way of contribution to this discussion. That's all time would allow us. If I try to extend the time, we all know what would happen here. So if you want to look smart and fashionable, visit any Woodin boutique nationwide today. Woodin offers an amazing collection of authentic African fabrics and ready to wear that come in beautiful designs and colors for men and women. With Woodin, you can get creative and versatile with your designs. Be confident and show off how truly African you are in Woodin. Go to a Woodin boutique near you today and choose from a variety of trendy products to complement your unique style. Follow Woodin Fashion on Facebook, Instagram at Woodin Fashion, and on TikTok at Woodin_fashion. I mean, I'm happy you all want an extension because you've enjoyed the discussion this morning. I saw Solo looking at me when I was doing the ad. But that's Solomon Owusu, Senior Communicator, Movement for Change. We're also joined in the studio by Hamza Suhini, a legal practitioner, a member of the NDC Communications team as well.
Proud member of the National Democratic Congress.
Okay. And Dr. Joshua Zaato, a political science.
I don't know. You say where to find out
political analyst. We are taking a break. When we come back, we have sports. We'll continue with the conversation about Nanto and all the other.
Yes, NT and Semno Enono. And I don't see the reason why MPP professors no inano. They always defend criminalities they always defend Sebi and Nema Emboa. They always defend. Omu defend ya Nema Enim Huno. Abronye Subaya wa denedi. Anyhow, wa usi ehye Nema in the MPP no. Enka watra class upon bedding, ombe suspending no. Watra so bedding, ombe yin every party no. Because of say Abronye, ewo bomi afa. Inti asane ma wie koso yo. Because of say Kwame Bafo Abronye, ewo Dr. Alhaji Bomia nafa. Inti a omo elukuno na wa osi obie ni wo betimi suspend na free party dem. Usi obie ntimi suspend o wa Abronye, but osi Canada Japan di betimi yin free party dem. Eti mitnase na me bisa no je MPP pani. Na anu ada Abronye. Na wo ba obi na di n'echi no. Woni me mpanyimfo beto omuwom. Alhaji Bomia awo wodi n'echi no. 2008 year Bomia, 2001 Bomia. Kofo ehun no baby a oka kire ni se masa. Waye adwumaden enti yiro ho. Obeko wonim politically. Out of a sudden no sha say wodidi di MPP echi. All of a sudden, Osha says so heading, wodidi di MPP echi. Kakra oni na mua. Eno kwa no nye MPP ni. Oti baby Bank of Ghana na si bibisa. Ena ekufado, ekofre no. Edine baye. So dini ye no running mate. Even hokra no. Na party for any nje according to Kobunaji Japan. Eni Boache Jakonom ade ni mu uti same crab no mo nsema ya omoka kwatiase. Na party for any nje because as a party member now, you need to last in the party for at least 5 years. I also hold party card. But Bomia by no less than 2 years. But I could find a petition a could more neck. Ebu omu constitution ne so. I could find omu constitution ne so. And opa neck for the National Executive Council. So for much omu man kwine because who said Alhaji Bomia bibi woni mu. Who said obetimi ni netu na mombi. I remember party ne mu nyama bam. Na say owiya oye adwuma pe na odi shele Alhaji Bomia nsa. Obi Zaato na party ndi on pese mu de no na omato aso. Na kufa do kan de say. Nti kakra. Alande na adwenya ni say na me ya do na kufa do wia na chese aide aduru no so. Na moko 2017 eko 2017 ko 2018 ko 2019 ko 2020. Yes, omu ba bibia am se Bomia nso adi o interest wo. Emalan say hey adina duru mi so ti story ni na wama Abronye akwa keto de ntana Abronye nyu bi o. Na he was just a regional chairman. Oni mhwe for party na ho. Okoye papa Canada Japan office. Ewo muka ni say Oman FM. Then time ko ofa kabla kwa achi no mokwa no maso so no mo agina. No watena se no akasa kakra kwa na ne yiri apisika kakra no mo dia ma Abronye. Na Abronye wonya kakra shiri butom. Disa o se obera na Canada Japan ka se mbi yeni Stûbb0rn proud yes. Because no ni Abronye eyo yeni bankasa ampaso na Abronye eda kokwo so. Oda manam na kakra Canada Japan. Epija na kakra di sheni butom. Ene Abronye Bomia biji vice president Abronye the moment enye hokra 2020 elections After 2020 election, Omuti Bomia campaign team no. Omuti campaign team we say Omudi be manifesto no mudi be campaign. Omamfa Abronye di anka ho. Abronye ba monten so ebisunye. One ne ofa na obi boahin. Omo ba monten so den ebisunye. Se saa komiti no adenti omo nka ho na se saa team na adenti omo nka ho. Enti oje party no mokai. Then time mo fakwabra kwa achi frɛ no o man FM so wajan metie sa show no pa 2022 so also ayden waja party no na o kasa bia na aja o ma Abronye senior so na no obi boahin so be kasa bi so no so o moyi ni pam waja party no ani na no nansa na Kwame Abronye Kwame bafo e ba monte so be kasa party no wanyen gyan ne bo mi an na kasa ti asem ni hanum na asem ni na won so ni baby asem ni fire ba Sibo miane na kasa. Unti sa asem na kwada kuti. Oman FM. Tenta ofa kwabna kwa achi ne otiase. That is the secret. Enemy ka show. Oman FM. Oman FM. Eno one ye krede Japan na izo. Osibo miane na kasa. Tenta na Kennedy. Mind you, say na Kennedy enyen declare intention. So obede obeko 2024 elections ni bi. And I saw ni Bomia be pre running meet. Sorry, Frank Barash. Into mine, sorry, a year Cobra Quacha for corrupt catching in Kasa or Manefi. Emani making emphatically, Abronye making emphatically say, Yura, Dr. Hedge Bomia, then Tabonena Casa, be studio light in a dome. On a Casa, into Bibia Yoki. Sana wa promising Sika Kakraka. Our dear man, and on why I use a sadia. Obekuno e de mo MPP eni se ne Abronye asora betin MPP for konso a o se wote ne ho anti ade Bomia kan se mbi a kire no enti no se obeya Bomia be di president de o fa to no so and it is sad anye so obi be bi nya no munyam nti na odi obetutu obi eni munyam ase anye so obi e be bi nya ade papa bi nti no na wo kwa akose obi de wiasi yenkundwafo empidwa wati na mecho na say enti se wo Abronye obi a promise so obeboa it doesn't mean say obi titi a party ni nanim it doesn't mean say party no be fa bobo enti MPP neck se mo ya active na mo ye adwuma you people should deal with Abronye Kwame Bafo Abronye you people should make sure Kwame Bafo Abronye pay this thing dearly. I'm telling you, me na make a chew. Se mo ma Kwame Bafo Abronye man sanction no na mo jano no ne nam ho party MPP any party bill in the next 10 years to 20 years. Party be jinja unless leaders are more immediate dissolution. Obia de dibia to honum. Na mo san ko peke ne foforo. Na party no more fairness. Na mo abu mo die yo mo constituency abu bibia we se mo ye dem de to honum. Na mo san ye ne foforo. Say this party no injire yi. Chira wadwo conversation ni. Median mega. Bye bye.